¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. Howdy, howdy, everybody. Astro, how's it going? It is almost Saturday. Winter Veggie, I finally catch you again. Howdy. Zeoduke, Her Majesty might even come to a window. My royal pants are an explosion. Jesus. Today, I did not forget to press start streaming. A military flyover, a 70 aircraft flyover, Jesus. What's on the agenda today? We've got a few things going on. I think maybe we should start with, a funny story, I guess. For the memes. All right. Let me make sure we got everything going. First things first, folks, if you haven't already, head on over to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Uh-oh. Okay. Hold on, folks. There we go. First story of the day. We'll do a meme story. Tucker Carlson has apparently awakened the K-pop army, which of course apparently was a very bad idea. For him, but good for everybody else. right after he said some really cringe stuff. Apparently talking about anti-Asian hate crimes is attempting to degrade the country because, of course, he's got to fit in that dog whistle in there. His words, quote, we got a Korean pop group to discuss anti-Asian hate crime in the US. Good job, guys. Because BTS is one of the largest, if not the largest, youth ambassadors. So I would say that this would be a good idea. And then he added later, doubling down, suggesting that inviting global superstars to Washington was helping to, quote, degrade the country. Yep, they hate the country and they're trying to degrade it. Yep, because everyone who's not like him is an attempt to degrade the country. Anyone who's not like him is an attempt to degrade the country. Not that subtle. And it's working. What? On which screen graphics dubbed the White House as the Nut House, as Carlson went on to make unsubstantiated claims of white supremacy in the Biden administration. Carlson was very quickly given an object lesson in the passion for BTS fan army, as hundreds of tweets flooded the talker's mentions and overwhelmed his feed. Ah, good. It's sad when his supporters love these kind of stories, though. Yeah.
So things are going so poorly for the White House that even NBC News can no longer ignore it. Vote for Biden. He's an adult. Not anymore. Here's the line from NBC, quote, Biden is rattled by his sinking approval ratings. There are signs of managerial breakdowns at the White House. NBC also reports that Biden is furious that his aides keep walking back his demented comments. Quote, Biden was furious his remarks were being seen as unreliable. I wonder why, as he repeatedly declares war on various countries.
Does anybody think that this guy is just a tiny bit unhinged? Jesus. I think, like, slowly we're watching him devolve. WhiteHouse.gov also on YouTube has 4 videos on Asian Americans. It's not a weird laugh. It's an evil laugh. This dude's like nothing but pure hate.
And that's just the beginning. Politico, no publication is sucked up to Biden harder than Politico. But Politico
source?
was
Whoa.
reporting that the Biden White
Whoa, source? Every single second of this video has to be stopped and corrected. Source? No other outlet has sucked up to the Biden administration other than Politico. Is there like a data point behind that, or you're just making that up to sensationalize stuff? Yeah, it's really anything to disparage. Anyone that disagrees with him is basically that. I mean, like, because you can criticize Biden in like 10,000 ways, right? Like, there's so much to say in that. There's so much like conversation to be had, but this ain't it. The shirt does not match the tie. I don't know. I can't speak on that one because my dress code is a t-shirt and basketball shorts. That is my classic dress code that has been the same dress code since like forever and a half. Okay? So I don't know. I can't comment on that one.
White House is awash in malignant white supremacy.
What?
Are you surprised? Not really, of course. Quote, at least 21 black staffers have left the Biden White House since late last year or are planning to leave soon.
Okay. Why though? Why? Is there a reason for that? Is it because they're being discriminated against? Then yeah, I would agree. Maybe. Or are they just voluntarily leaving? Because like look at the words that are on the screen. 21 black staffers have left the White House. Was it like voluntary? Did they just leave because they found other jobs? That's every single second of this guy is just a lie or very twisted words. Does that mean you don't work in an office? No, I don't work in an office. Remember last time you saw me just kind of shift over, and just try to like log into my computer? Yeah, it's right here. You seem confused. Tucker Carlson isn't a journalist, he's an entertainment host. Yeah, that's how he gets away with it. But people actually think he is, though. People actually think that this guy's legit. Millions of them, tens of millions of them listen to this guy and think he's legitimate. All while listening to basically like xenophobia for an hour. Xenophobia and like very thinly veiled white supremacy. There's more to this story. What does that mean? Thank God you keep pausing it. I have to keep pausing it because every single second is a freaking lie. But I do agree with you. It's very hard to get through this, but, you know.
Now, sources blame the, quote, work environment, in other words, the racism of the Biden administration.
Whoa! No. No. Come on, Tucky. 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 A toxic work environment doesn't always equal racism. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes a toxic work environment just means a lot of micromanagement. Sometimes a toxic work environment could be your coworkers. Nothing to do with racism. That's you putting words in up there. What race is the vice president? I think she's black and Asian also, I think. I don't know. Kamala Harris. Tucker Carlson probably hates Republicans more than you. Wrong. Wrong. They're all Republican senators and Congress people are ghouls by definition, Ponyboy. All Republican, like congressmen, the senators, they're all ghouls. And so is he, by the way. So is Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is a cheerleader for Republicans and capitalism. Yeah, he's a cheerleader for anything that gives him money. I feel like Tucker Carlson is saying whatever to see what sticks. Yeah, but it's not. I don't know if it's just whatever. I think it's carefully crafted rhetoric to appeal to a certain person. Yeah.
So things have gotten very bad for Joe Biden, both public-facing and internally. What are they doing about it? Well, they broke glass in case of emergency and invited a Korean pop group to speak at the White House today. Watch.
Hi, we're BTS, and it is a great honor to
Wait. Things haven't like necessarily been going 100% good within the Biden administration. This is month, what, 5 of his administration? Bro, relax. They all say whatever it takes. All media works this way. Just follow the money and which companies are backing them. Now you have an agenda. Sometimes that's there is some truth to that, yes.
to be invited to the White House today to discuss the important issues of anti-Asian hate crimes, Asian inclusion, and diversity.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got a Korean pop group to discuss anti-Asian hate crimes in the
Yes.
United States. Okay, good job, guys. As Noah
Because they're a very, very big Asian pop group to discuss Asian hate crimes and are also one of the biggest youth ambassadors on the planet. Yes. Oh, yeah, 17 month. Hold on, fake news. Hold on, fake news. Correction. You're right, 17 month. Listen, chat, all of this year and a half has blended together. Okay? To me, I'm still living in 2020, all right? So I'm gonna need you to really quickly delete the last minute and a half of this stream. Minute and a half, delete it from your brains. Didn't happen. Jesus, I'm getting roasted by chat in real time. Yes, I made a mistake. You guys are right.
Pollock points out, quote, the Biden administration is defending anti-Asian racial discrimination in university admissions in a case before the Supreme Court, in case you wanted to compare substance versus PR. It's not even very good PR. And this is not even the first time the Biden administration has done something like this. Last August, they invited a TikTok star to the White House because that'll make things better.
Hi, my name is Cooper, and this is a day in my life as a White House intern.
We did it, Joe. Hey, everyone. Vogue. Hey, Jenny. I booked you a nail appointment, love.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to do that.
It's called Initiative. Hi, White House. This is Cooper. I don't think so.
Yep, they hate the country, trying to degrade it, and it's working. But
God damn. Jesus Christ. Whew. This is the guy that politicized Mr. Potato Head and M&Ms and then asked why we're not yeah, I know, Winter Veggie. I don't trust Biden. He said that he's 78 just last year, flip-flopped to 79 this year. Which is it, Joe? Damn it. Yeah, I know. I took an L on that one, chat. Alright, I know. I took an L. USA trying to befriend China because Saudi isn't happy with the US because of Yemen, and Saudi because of this. What? I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming that this is a dispute between, for oil or something? I don't know. Joe's getting on trend with the younger voters. I don't know. They're really letting you have it for that minor mistake. Damn it, Tucker Carlson speaks to millions and makes and says a lie every 5 seconds, and I get roasted for for making a mistake on the dates. All right, listen, chat. How's it going, KTS Shine? Don't take the L. The last 2 years have been a blur. No, it's my bad. That was incorrect. I was incorrect. Remember, the segment started in a completely different segment, in a completely different argument. So yeah. Also, can we just take a note that like inviting a LGBTQ plus person, I'm not sure, inviting a Asian pop band. This is what Tucker Carlson considers degrading the country. That's not a dog whistle, folks. That is a flat out bullhorn. That is not a dog whistle. There's nothing subtle about what he's telling you. Shadashay morning. Howdy, howdy. Exactly, Bad Manicure. He's just saying it. There's no dog whistling here. Anyone who isn't straight, white, is degrading the country. I mean, what else are we supposed to take from this? That's what he's saying, folks. It's not very subtle. He should have invited Andrew Yang. Fuck Andrew Yang. Anyways, yeah, he's straight up saying it, folks. Anyone that isn't him, is degrading the country. This is straight out, like straight from a. I could find probably this on this is like indistinguishable from a 4chan post. Spread it forward. How's it going? I don't think people liked him to begin with. He had like a small like movement behind him, and yeah. The most I could say about Andrew Yang is that he brought up the whole concept of what is it? A universal basic income to the forefront, but even his deployment of that idea was just straight up garbage. Like that's like the most I could say about him. The day after the Uvalde shooting, he said right? Like absolutely no. What a gross comment. I remember I went over that one. Jesus. By the way, is your arm all healed up? Yeah, I think so. I'm like 99% sure I'm okay. I mean, like I could straighten out my arm. It looks like I can move it around. Right, sorry, spread it forward. Let me rephrase that. UBI is nothing new, but he did bring it to like the forefront, but the deployment of his idea was absolute garbage. Because of exactly what you're saying, to replace welfare with UBI, hot garbage. When I worked tangent to Ben Shapiro, I learned that they actually do try and direct hate on 4chan. Wait, what? Is that for real? I'm not that I'm disputing it. I'm super curious. Like, can you expand on that? That would be nuclear to the GOP? Yeah, but not, but it would make sense. It would make sense if we've got, like, literal Republican elected Congress people, repeating or regurgitating unironic 4chan stories. 4chan or 8chan, whatever, it's all the same garbage to me. But if we've got unironic if we've got elected GOP officials regurgitating, mainlining 4chan stories, it makes sense. It makes sense. And this, and Tucker Carlson over here is essentially indistinguishable. Like, if you just close your eyes and read the transcript, it's almost indistinguishable from a 4chan post. Oh, shoot. What? Yeah, I worked with Michael Knowles, and he's active on 4chan. They put out a hit piece on my boss. What? So, are they getting, like, stories from 4chan, or are they, like, behind the scenes feeding stories to 4chan so that 4chan, you know, because everyone there is like, everyone there is like essentially a far-right extremist posting there. But Winter Veggie, yeah, do you happen to know if that's like, if that's where they're writing stories to feed to 4chan? That is wild. You know, Slayer Dar, thank you for the follow. That's much worse because they're the ones that are doing it on purpose. That is much worse. It's not like an ignorance of like, I just happened to see this on the internet and I believed it and I'm just too lazy to take 5 seconds to do research. No. It's them feeding the stories themselves. Let me remind you, Michael Knowles is, Michael Knowles works with one of the largest, if not the largest, conservative platform, the Daily Wire, which is propped up by Ben Shapiro. I don't work with him anymore. I have morals. God dang, Winter Veggie. Is there like a way that I don't want to impose or I don't know if you can. Is there a way that maybe we could have a talk one day? About what you saw while you were there? Because I know, like, sometimes it gets a little dicey, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. But I don't know if you would be willing to one day, kind of give us the breakdown there. I met people who work with Mark Levin, American Marxism book. Yeesh. Glowies? Glowies are like, glowies are like 4chan posts for feds. I thought it was Russia's job to feed 4chan. No. It's using up extremist rhetoric on 4chan because they know it spreads like wildfire. Because that's what they want. I was a marketing assistant. We can talk, but I don't have anything crazy. No, I just like the I just want an inside scoop, like, as to how that came to be. 2016 to 17. Oh, even better. Even more juicier. Oh, this is just getting better and better. Oof. If it's okay, I'll whisper you after stream. Oh my goodness. Just a tad bit. Just that juicy scoop of the fact that, like, these people are responsible for spreading and perpetuating extremist rhetoric. It's them, folks. And then you've got, so, Jesus, this is nefarious, like, evil supervillain type stuff. Like, this is like comic book supervillain type stuff. So you've got, like, your online, like, online media, like the Daily Wire, which is a you've got people like the Daily Wire, which is arguably the largest platform for conservatives online, spreading garbage on 4chan or 8chan or whatever. And then you get it mainlined to millions of people by people like Tucker Carlson. Genius.
But the headline here is that the white supremacy in the Biden White House is so intense, 21 black staffers can...
Wait, I'm sorry. We're getting whiplash over here. So we're talking about how minorities and marginalized people are degrading the country. But the people who are trying to, albeit performatively, raise their platform for these marginalized people are the white supremacists. It's like you accuse people of what you're doing. You're accusing the Biden administration of what you just did. You literally just said anyone who isn't white or straight is degrading the country. That's the implication there. There's no thin veil behind it. It was very clear. You said it. We have video. We just watched you. I don't know how unambiguous you need to be.
There be more than 21 total? Not a huge staff at the White House. 21 black staffers have fled.
Also, it's very misleading because you didn't tell us why they fled. Did they leave voluntarily? Were they fired? Was it because of their race? Were they constantly berated because of their race? Can I hear one more time? I think I missed that part. Oh yeah, it's around here.
In university admissions, in a case before the Supreme Court, in case you wanted to compare, very bad for Joe Biden, both public-facing and internally. What are they doing about it? Well, they broke glass in case of emergency and invited a Korean pop group to speak at the White House today. Watch. Biden administration. In other words, the courses blame the courses. One black's White House is awash up to Biden. Repeatedly declared, what? I wonder why. As he repeatedly declares war on various states, keep furious. There line from NBC quote Biden quote the for Joe.
Hey, Jenny. I booked you a nail appointment, love.
Yeah, I didn't tell you to do that.
It's called Initiative.
Hi, White House, this is Cooper. I don't think so.
Yep. They hate the country, trying to degrade it, and it's working.
Catch that? Not that subtle. Not that subtle. And of course, yeah, any marginalized groups are fair game to these people. Listen, I understand. I'm tired of listening to him too. I guess my internet just decided that we're not doing this anymore, which I agree. I think my internet's trying to tell me something, chat. Yeah, alright. It's okay, we get the idea, yeah. Alright, so on to the meme story, okay? Jesus, I was trying to, like, make a laugh at him, but this guy's so gross. So, because he targeted the most influential band, he's got all these, like, and in case the K-pop folks in his mentions, which is hilarious. And I think they should keep coming. I look forward to Tucker Carlson going on his anti-Asian rant after this. That's for sure. Memo for the record. He was not ready for the kind of shit that the netizens do. Yeah. And to which I say, get effed. To that I say, get effed. Since the conservative right uses Christianity to justify their hate, they use it when bashing the LGBT community. Since they think they're okay with the Lord, that's all that matters to them. True. It's all bigotry hiding behind Christianity. I would never want to hear Tuck or Alex Jones sing. Oh, couldn't have happened to a nicer dude. True. Yeah, so just keep signal boosting things like this, you know? Good stuff. Ah. Good memes. Tucker Carlson awakens the force of K-pop stans. Good luck! To the K-pop stans, of course. Alright, folks, time to be serious for a second. I talked about this story yesterday, but it is worth repeating. It is worth repeating because it's very, very, very important, okay? And I do need you folks to listen, okay? Listen, signal boost, talk about it, spread the word. This needs to be talked about as much as possible. I went over this yesterday, but I feel like I need to go over it again because I went over it towards like a little bit towards the end. So I need to really reiterate this. It's going to be an army. Tapes revealed a GOP plan to contest elections. Placing operatives as poll workers and building a hotline to friendly attorneys are among the strategies to be deployed in Michigan and other swing states. Folks, if you're here, and you have the means of spreading this far and wide wherever you can, don't just keep talking about it, and be very wary. Pay attention to your local council, city council, anything that involves who runs the elections in your local area, because generally speaking, elections are run locally on this local and state level, and especially if you're in strong like Democratic areas, heavily Democratic areas. Please pay attention, okay? This is incredibly important, and it's important that everybody has their eyes open. Video recordings of Republican Party operatives meeting with grassroots activists to provide an inside look at a multi-pronged strategy to target and potentially overturn votes in Democratic precincts, install trained recruits as the regular poll workers, and then put them in direct contact with party attorneys. The more this gets out, the more this becomes public, the better it is. Trust me. The plan, as outlined by an RNC staffer in Michigan, includes utilizing rules designed to provide political balance among poll workers to install party-trained volunteers prepared to challenge voters at Democratic majority polling places, developing a website to connect those workers to local lawyers, and establishing a network of party-friendly district attorneys who could intervene to block vote counts at certain precincts. The more this gets out to the public, the better. I will post a link. It's also on my Discord. Fu Manchu brought this up. Being a poll worker, you just have so many more rights and things you can do to stop something than as a poll challenger. Matthew Seyfried, the RNC's election integrity director for Michigan, stressing the importance of attaining official designation as poll workers in a meeting with GOP activists in Wayne County last November 6th. It is one of a series recording of a GOP meeting between the summer of 21 and May of this year obtained by Politico. Backing up those frontline workers, it's, quote, gonna be an army, Seyfried promised at an October 5th training session. We're gonna have more lawyers than we've ever recruited because, let's be honest, that's where it's going to be fought, right? Folks, they're getting ready to plan the next attempt. This kind of gives away the idea that they care about democracy in any way, shape, or form, right? This kind of just wipes that idea out of the water. This blows that idea out of the water, right? Because, like, instead of training your activists, instead of training your, like, on the ground people to be like, hey, you need to canvass, you need to reach as many people as possible, you need to register as many people, you need to get out and spread the word of our platform to as many people, because that's what delivers votes and that's what delivers elections. No, they're training people to encouraging them to be like, hey, look, we need to be poll workers, we need to have attorneys. What? Why? You're scared of losing or something? That's not how a democratically inclined party works. That's not a mindset of a party that would respect democracy. That's right, Winter Veggie. You can justify anything if you're if there's an existential threat that continues every day for an hour. You're being told that this country is under an existential threat by minorities? This country is under an existential threat by a TikToker? Really, Tucker? I hope all their attempts to get affiliated poll workers on board are as funny as the hearings with Rudy and that lady who said, what did you do? What did you do? Something crazy with it? No, this isn't like... I wish I could laugh, Duke. I wish I could try to make something like I wish I could make light of something out of this story. But I can't. I really can't. I don't know, like, how to meme it up on this one. Best I can offer is those jams. Is the very relaxing jams. That's the best I can do. As Spread It Forward just said. Best I can do is, like, relaxing jams as we listen to the next plot to attempt to undermine our democracy. Seyfried also said that the RNC will hold workshops and equip poll workers with a hotline and website developed by Zendesk, a software company used by online retailers, which will allow them to live chat with party attorneys on election day. Cool. Cheaters are going to cheat. I just hope their attempts fail so hilariously and completely in the future, too. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Zeoduke. I'm trying to air this out as much as possible. Like, air this out so that people are aware of this. In a May 2022 session, that was last month, folks, a couple weeks ago, he said he achieved a goal set last winter. More than 5,600 individuals had signed up to be poll workers, and several days ago, he submitted an initial list of more than 850 names to the Detroit clerk. Yeah, so this plan is already in motion, folks. It's not like something that they've been talking about, thinking about. Nope. It's already underway. This time, I don't think it will, on my understanding, okay? On my understanding of the process, I don't think it will work. But I'm not here to freaking gamble on that. We need to be very aware and organized and eyes open on election day. Because they certainly are. This is by far one of the most organized attempts that I've seen yet. Not some half-baked release to Kraken crap. Not some half-baked lawsuits that didn't have any merit. This one's for real. Have you heard of the loophole in the Constitution that would allow for a dictatorship in America? You just need a majority to pass endless amendments to the Constitution and then make it very hard to amend the amendments. Yeah, theoretically, I think that could happen, or that would be a way, but I don't know, like I said, just how that would pan out in reality, right? Democrat Janice Winfrey, who serves as the clerk, would be bound to pick the names from the list submitted by the party under a local law intended to ensure bipartisan representation and an unbiased team of precinct workers. But what if the precinct workers are GOP operatives? Huh. Oh, send that to me in whispers, Winter Veggie. That's what the 2A is for, brother. Separately, Politico obtained Zoom tapings of Tim Griffin, legal counsel to the Amistad Project, a self-described election integrity group that Donald Trump's former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, once portrayed as a partner in the Trump campaign's legal effort to overturn the 2020 election, meeting with activists from multiple states and discussing plans for identifying friendly district attorneys who could stage real-time interventions in local disputes. I mean, that's really it, right? That's really it. Because if you can successfully create such chaos, if you can successfully create such chaos to the point where people might for a second doubt the integrity of the election, that's all you need. The groundwork was already laid out from the beginning of the election season in 2019 with Donald Trump. That mentality, that groundwork is already laid out. If they can successfully cast a doubt by creating so much chaos through frivolous interventions, and then come to find out nothing actually came of it, but hey, there's like all of a sudden a whole bunch of like interventions are being called because of friendly district attorneys, and we got to investigate this and create such a legal chaos that would be good enough to then be used as a way of casting doubt on the electoral on the results. That's it, they've won. That's it. That's all you need. Jefferson did say we should write the Constitution every 20 to 30 years. I think that definitely there's some merit to that. There's an inner contradiction in the Constitution. Stop it. Okay. Of the U.S., in which Austrian-American logician, mathematician, and analytic philosopher Kurt Gödel postulated in 1947 the loophole would permit the American democracy to be legally turned into a dictatorship. Gödel told his friend Oscar Morgenstern about the existence of the flaw, and Morgenstern told Albert Einstein about it at the time, but Morgenstern, in his recollection of the incident in 1971, never mentioned the exact problem as Gödel saw it. This has led to speculation about the precise nature of what has come to be called Gödel's loophole, has become one of the greatest unsolved problems of constitutional law. Wow. Here's an interesting tidbit. Other writers have speculated that Gödel may have had other parts of the Constitution in mind as well, including the possibility that a partisan ratchet effect... Hey! Interesting. Correct, spread it forward. Then including a possibility that a partisan ratchet effect via lifetime Supreme Court appointments, and selective application of the law, could permanently stack the Supreme Court with justices of one political persuasion. That's eerily concerning. I feel like that's incredibly relevant. Sounds like the GOP is working all angles. Yes, and in this case, I believe they're very, very organized this time. All right, folks. We got to finish this one. But yeah, this is eerily this kind of worries me. Because that's kind of exactly the path that we're on, if not already set. And each time that ratchet locks, it gets tighter and tighter. Yeah. Totally not worrying. On the recording, Griffin speaks of building a nationwide network of district attorney allies and how to create a legal trap for Winfrey. Remember, guys, we're trying to build out this is their quote. Quote, we're trying to build the nationwide district attorney network. Your local district attorney, as we always say, these people are very, very in tune, is more powerful than your congressman. They're the ones that can seat a grand jury. They're the ones that can start an investigation, issue subpoenas, and make sure that all records are retained, etc. All they need to do is cast a doubt. Okay? Politico obtained about a dozen recordings from people who were invited to listen to the meetings. Seyfried referred Politico's request for comment to the RNC. Griffin, through the Thomas More Society, which runs Amistad, did not return repeated calls and texts to spokesperson Tom Ciesowska. A spokesperson for the RNC said that the party is attempting to rectify an imbalance in favor of Democratic election workers in large urban areas, particularly Detroit, a city that votes reliably Democratic. Well then, hey, listen, buddy, if you are being blown out of the water by the Democratic Party in certain areas, that's a you problem. Maybe your platform is garbage. Maybe your candidates are garbage. They're so clever. I wonder why they're not both equally good at it. I don't know, Zeoduke. They've been incredibly effective. In my opinion. Think about it. From the 2019 beginning of the electoral cycle, all the way up to 2022, the groundwork for now casting doubts on our electoral systems without, of course, evidence, has been laid out beautifully. I mean, think about it. Dinesh D'Souza just released 2,000 Mules. Not when it mattered, but he released it now to keep it going. That's the whole point. The whole point is to cast that doubt. The whole point is to continue to lay that foundation. All nice, beautiful, ready to go. All on the basis of nothing. But it worked. It worked because people are eating it up. Not the whole country, but enough people are eating up the garbage from Dinesh D'Souza without 5 seconds of critical thinking. Enough people are eating up the garbage of Tucker Carlson without 5 seconds of critical thinking. They need to stack off digital voting and have loads of observers because no one trusts computers. But that wasn't the issue, though. There was no evidence behind that. Like, where's the source of the concern? And then we'll get to you. You know what I mean? Like, if there was a legitimate concern about, like, the computer or whatever, then what is the concern? Where did things go wrong? Can you prove that so that we can rectify that and change it so that we, address the problem? Except every time I ask that question, I never get an answer. Alright, KTS Shine, we might get to that at the end. Thank you for the follow, Tool. A spokesperson for the RNC is... Okay, yes, we did it. Democrats have had a monopoly on poll watching, source, for 40 years, and it speaks to volumes that they're terrified of an even playing field. Every time these folks say something, it's always projection of what they are thinking. Over 5 million votes, you need machines. GOP just mad because Trump could not rule for 20 years. True. The RNC is focused on training volunteers to take part in this election process because polling shows that American voters want bipartisan poll watching to ensure transparency and security at the ballot box. I think we already have that, my friend. The introduction graphic on his training presentation, Seaford said the RNC's goal is to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat. X to doubt. Call me crazy, but I don't trust technology for voting unless it has to deal with my idea of using blockchains for voting as an open digital ledger permanent. Having a system that is inherently hard to cheat at is always a good objective, but you don't need to prove that an opaque system is going wrong. Its disadvantage is that its complexity of observing it and understanding it is to the common person. Yeah, but I get that, but I don't know. It just feels like these concerns are not backed by if you were to show me Jesus Christ, in 2020 one of the machines was hacked by a person and I don't know, a couple thousand votes got compromised, then I would say, well, holy yikes, what happened? How do we fix that? But the nature of our decentralized system, because it's all state to state, each state runs their elections differently, each county has their own procedures. The whole point is that it's very, very, very difficult to coordinate a complete and massive conspiracy to just overturn, the election. These folks are getting organized to create that cloud of doubt by just essentially shotgun blast of a bunch of claims by getting friendly district attorneys to intervene and whatever. That's their goal. Their goal is to completely and utterly shatter the idea of a working electoral system without evidence. That's the goal. Because they don't like democracy. They don't like democracy. What's in harm in using an analog air gap system? There's hundreds of millions of votes. But here's the cool, neat thing. Here's the awesome, super, super duper neat thing. As Winter Veggie just pointed out, we have paper backups. We have paper backups. in case an issue does come up. That's the cool thing about it. It happened in Georgia. They did a count. They did a recount. They did an audit. So we have fail-safes. And if need be, we have paper backups to count it manually if necessary. That's the neat part. We've got a lot of fail-safes in place. Not saying it's perfect. There have been instances of individuals attempting to test that system and getting slapped with felonies. So yes, we do have fail-safe systems. So just use them first and have the counting of it watched by both sides. An example, wait, Zeoduke, there are poll watchers and poll workers who are watching and doing the counts. If we had a blockchain for voting where everyone inserted our vote blocks on the chain with a random password that we could either choose ourselves or given once you vote, that you can go back and look on the chain yourself and see that your exact vote once you plug in your code, you can see the time and choice. Tell me that doesn't sound pog AF. Yeah, I mean, sure. If you want to add like new technology or make it so that you can add on to our security systems, sure, that might be an interesting idea. I'm not against it. I'm just trying to avoid giving any credence to the idea that there's some like humongous problems with our electoral system without like evidence for it, right? I'm just trying to move away from giving any iota of credence to the idea that we have just some massive problem going on and we can't trust anything and like I just can't do it. If we're going to use computers for democracy, might as well be progressive and open and transparent. Yes, I agree. If we can improve the way we have it set up, then yeah, sure, I'm all for it. I'm all for it if we want to update and make it more secure and transparent as to how the systems work. Then yeah, I'm on board with that. Spread it forward. A lot of people don't understand blockchain or electronic tabulation is just ammo for anyone trying to cast doubt on it. Possibly, but I mean, like all these crypto bros would understand, yeah. But yeah, I'm not opposed to necessarily the idea of adding on better, more updated systems like what you're suggesting. Spread it forward. All right. But election watchdog groups and legal experts say many of these recruits are answering RNC's call because they falsely believe the fraud was committed in the 2020 election, so installing them as supposed unbiased officials who oversee voting at precinct levels could create chaos in such a heavily Democratic precinct. And that's the idea. And there it is, folks. That's the idea. That's the plan. This is completely unprecedented in the history of American elections that a political party would be working at this granular level to put a network together. It looks like now the Trump forces are going directly after the legal system itself, and that should concern everyone. That's the point. I don't think it's going to work in the same... I don't think it's going to work the way it's played out in their heads, but it doesn't have to. Obviously, we've got such a convoluted, decentralized system that it's going to be incredibly hard to flip results, like physically flip results of national elections. Okay, it's just, it would have to be such a massive conspiracy that everybody would have to be in on it. But all they have to do is cast doubt. And that groundwork is already laid out. I get that. I don't like the idea either, because the software can be programmed to do anything and we could think of and more. So if we had a tool that was less like a software, more like a permanent physical thing that we can all see and measure, analyze, I think it would make even boomers consider it. Yeah, maybe. Like I said, I'm not necessarily opposed to updating our, electoral way of doing things, as long as the technology works. And yeah. Penniman also expressed concern about the quick strike networks of lawyers and DAs being created, suggesting that politically motivated poll workers could simply initiate a legal conflict at polling places that disrupts voting and then use it as a vehicle for rejecting vote counts from that precinct, which I don't think that's gonna work out. But if you already make a poo storm in one of these places, that already is effed. Because that's going to be all over right-wing media. The DNC spokesperson, Amar Moussa, said the DNC trains poll watchers to help every eligible voter cast a ballot, but neither the DNC or state party trains poll workers. The DNC did help recruit poll workers in 2020 due to a drop-off in older workers amid the pandemic, but he said it's not currently doing so and has never trained poll workers to contest votes. Benjamin P. Dixon Show, coming in hot with 39 viewers. Howdy, everybody. Welcome. Jam Tomb, good morning from Like It or Not. Howdy. Folks, if you are new to this channel and you have not seen me before, howdy. I am A Difficult Truth. We do news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you want a chill version of the stream where we all just kind of hang out, join us for Saturday Catterdays about noon Eastern Time. Kitty Cat's guaranteed. Make sure you hit that follow button. You get 5 free emotes, and one of those emotes, Arbakita the cat. Come on, can't say no to that. Welcome, everybody. Octavia324, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Howdy. Walt. On the tapes, some of the would-be poll workers lamented that fraud committed in 2020 and that the election was corrupt. So I'm going to solve the problem of the election being rigged by rigging the election by being a poll worker to make sure I'm on the inside. I'm on the inside. Yeah, make it make sense, folks. Installing party loyalists on the board of canvassers, which is responsible for certifying elections, also appears to be part of the GOP strategy. In Wayne County, which includes Detroit, Republicans nominated to the board a man who said he would not have certified the 2020 elections. Yep. There you go, look at that. Look at all those vaquita emotes. Cause I'm on the outside, I'm looking in. I can see through you, see your true, see your true colors. Cause I'm on the outside. Alright, I got you, Memo. There you go. Zeoduke. Both Penniman and Rick Hasson, law and political science professor at the University of California, Irving School of Law, said that they see a domino effect that could sow doubts about an election even where there is no original infraction. Exactly. Exactly the problem here. No Vaquita on the YouTube chat. We gotta fix that. I don't know if I could do that on YouTube chat. I gotta look into it. Cause YouTube does deserve the Vaquita emote. YouTube is catching up. That is true. They have made several updates, so maybe I can look into it and get some emotes up in there. So that you can all feel the Vaquita love. Echo Resto Dragon, howdy. Howdy, howdy. A politically motivated poll worker connected with a zealous local lawyer to disrupt voting, following by a challenge to the board of canvassers that may have nothing to do with the underlying dispute, but merely the level of disruption at the polling place, which is all. That's the entire idea, right? You shouldn't have poll workers who are reporting to political organizations what they see. It creates the potential for mucking things up at polling places and potentially leading to delays or disenfranchisement of voters. Haha, just the idea. If the poll workers come in with the attitude that something is crooked with how elections are run. Exactly. And folks, for those of you that are just joining in, morning. A420 Kitty Dragon. Right. Oh, we got a couple of the Dragon Squad hanging out here. Howdy. For those of you that are coming in, this is incredibly important that it is being talked about time and time again as much as humanly possible. Because that's the best way to, or one of the best ways to combat this is to be incredibly open about this, okay? The Republican Party is getting incredibly organized in an attempt, I would say arguably, one of their best attempts or strategies to sow doubt across the board on our electoral systems. This is not a party who believes in democracy, because if they did, they wouldn't need to create workshops for potential poll workers. They wouldn't need to create networks of friendly DAs that these poll workers could get in contact with immediately. They wouldn't be focusing on seeing if they can get folks on the board of canvassers. No, they would be focusing on their platform, on how many people they're going to reach, how many volunteers can they get, how many doors they can knock, Instead, they're putting all instead they're putting a lot of effort, if not all, into making sure that across the board there's some type of system in place that they could sow doubt by creating chaos in our elections without merit. I don't think personally these let's say that this gets deployed and there's an incident at, I don't know, a precinct where one of these folks decides that they're gonna contest some of these votes. Everything gets stopped. The district attorney, which ideally for them would be a friendly district attorney, gets on board, starts an investigation. That's already it. That's all they need. Even if that investigation ends up being clear, the fact that the fact that the investigation is initiated, even if there's nothing behind it, even if the investigation leads to nothing, that's not what folks are going to hear. That's not what folks are going to hear. They're not going to hear, bogus investigation number 357 ended up being meritless. They're going to hear investigation happens at at polls across the country. Huh. How does that sound? Not good. Especially, as I said before, and this is for the folks that just came in, especially that they've spent 3-4 years laying the groundwork to cast a shadow over the integrity of our electoral systems. I mean, that's the goal. As I said earlier, for those folks who haven't, I guess, seen or be aware, Dinesh D'Souza released his documentary 2000 Mules recently, not when it counted, didn't present single evidence in any of the court cases. He made it into a documentary and released it recently to keep that fire going, to keep that doubt going, and carry that all the way up until the midterms and all the way up. It's just the new strategy. That's what's worrying. And I need folks to continue to talk about this. The recordings are amongst the first windows into what former Trump strategist Stephen Bannon, who's been urging listeners to his podcast to take on election leadership positions, called the precinct strategy. And there we have it, folks, if that doesn't worry you enough. I didn't even get to this part of the article. I mean, need I say more? This is it, folks. Eyes open. But Penniman, the election watchdog, believes his strategy is designed to create enough disputes to justify intervention by GOP-controlled state legislators who declined to take such steps in 2020. Right, exactly. So again, that's been the TLDR of this entire thing. It's all it is. Is an intricate design to cast doubts on the election. That's it. Come election day, you create massive failure of certification in Democratic precincts. The real hope is that you can throw the choosing of electors to state legislators, and ta-da, democracy averted. Participants in recorded training sessions said their goal is to root out fraud, not just achieve more Republican poll workers in majority Democratic precincts. Among panelists at the May 14th Election Integrity Summit in Detroit was Jackie Eubanks, a Trump-endorsed state house candidate who warned kids my age who are communists do and will staff our elections. In urging Republicans to become paid full-time election workers to police absentee ballot signatures, and according to a recording of the summit. So, yeah, the idea is to obviously put doubt, and it's like, this signature doesn't look right, maybe, I don't know, toss it out. Speaking separately to Macomb County Republicans, Eubanks also recently said the election system is rigged and who best to steal it but our clerks. Hot damn. Remember how this is just unbelievable. Everything that they say, everything that they accuse of others doing is what they're doing. They accused of the Democratic Party projection, yes, of stealing elections, and here they are getting ready in their mind, because again, I don't know if they understand process, but it's as close to a plan as possible. But here in their mind, they want to steal it. It's as if the irony, the hypocrisy just goes right over their heads. The projection goes right over their heads. During the May 14 Election Integrity Summit, Seyfried said that the party is now actively recruiting lawyers and that he wanted to start reaching out to law enforcement. Oh ho ho! Boy. Yikes. Patrick Colbeck, a former member of the Michigan State Senate and former gubernatorial candidate, said at the same summit that he is working with another organization right now on developing a kit for law enforcement because many don't understand election law and it will give them tools that identify and enforce election fraud more effectively. Being attacked first justifies equal or greater force. If you're talking about self-defense, yes. They keep saying it out loud and the Dems are silent. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Every one of them should be screaming about this on their social media accounts, but the donors probably won't give them permission. I wonder what economic laws will be passed under an American dictatorship. Probably more tax breaks for the rich. I think that would be the least of our problems, Winter Veggie. I think that would be the least of it. We didn't need a dictatorship for that one. So like I said, everybody should be talking about this everywhere. Spread the word. Talk about it as much as humanly possible. Post the article. Talk about it. Do not stay silent. Eubanks did not respond to requests for comment in an email to Politico. Colbeck said that there should be regular training for law enforcement on election laws. A central theater for the party's election integrity organizing, Michigan is among a number of battleground states where party loyalists are being groomed. Oh, Lord. To serve as inspectors in the next presidential election. Seyfried estimated that the RNC is committing 35 million buckaroos to the election integrity efforts nationwide, similar to what it spent in the last cycle in battleground state efforts. He is one of 16 state directors. Yeah, so they're repurposing that. Instead of like moving that money to be, you know, better, to have better outreach, to maybe have canvassers, to maybe work on platforms and have ads and have all of this stuff, you know, like a regular party would. No, they're spending all that money in an attempt to make sure that they have the tools in place. For decades, the RNC was barred from so-called ballot security measures after it settled an early 1980s case in which it was accused of voter suppression and violating the Voter Rights Act, including sending armed police officers off duty to polling places in minority areas. This was in the 80s, folks. Yeah. In 2018, a federal judge allowed that consent decree to expire in 2020. Oh, so that's why. Oh boy, jeez, they let him off the chain, and here they go. The 2020 election would have been the first year that the RNC would have had done anything with election integrity. Seyfried said in the tapes, all of former Donald Trump's battleground state allies, Republican operatives in the state of Michigan, came the closest to throwing the 2020 election and in the nation into a constitutional crisis. So many volunteer challengers overwhelmed the Detroit's TCF Center, where votes are being counted, that police intervened because COVID safety protocols had been breached. Jesus. Poll watchers accused poll workers of bullying them and blocking them from voting tables due to pandemic and social distance requirements. They also falsely alleged phony ballots were smuggled into the center, helping lay the predicate for a weeks-long delay in certifying the state's electoral votes, and that's all that's needed. It worked. So now they're going to deploy that as much as possible. That despite the fact that then Democratic candidate Joe Biden had won the state by more than 154,000 votes. In the recorded meeting with activists in March, Seyfried said there was a lot of disorganization, a lack of preparedness, and I've heard horror stories after horror story, referring to the GOP watchers barred by police due to COVID restrictions. We're going to have lawyers at work to build relationships with different judges so that when it happens, we're going to have lawyers that have relationships with the police chiefs in different areas, with the police officers in the different areas, so that when it happens with pre-existing relationships already established, so that they can't lie. Seyfried said during an October 2021 trading session in Oakland County. A GOP-led committee found no evidence of widespread fraud in Michigan 2020 election and recommended the state's attorney general to investigate those who made false claims. Yes, but unfortunately, the only thing that you see is, for example, Dinesh D'Souza's crappy garbage showing people like being blocked and screaming and whatever. That's what you're gonna see. This wasn't the headline. The headline wasn't GOP found no evidence of widespread fraud. No. It's the images of people being blocked because they're breaching COVID protocols, trying to falsely accuse of incorrect ballots or illegitimate ballots. That's what you hear. That was the headline. Numerous lawsuits were dismissed in court. In the tape, Seyfried cites specific grievances from 2020 that unsolicited absentee ballots were mailed by the Secretary of State and absentee ballots mailed out does not translate to absentee ballots illegitimately returned and counted. And that not all clerks are required to match signatures on absentee ballot applications, that the number of ballot drop-off locations were dramatically increased because of COVID, and that Democratic areas received more outside funding to increase voting access than Republican areas. Damn, that sounds like a Republican problem. In 2022 and 2024, instead of untrained volunteers, the goal for the GOP is for GOP recruits to have undergone training and be equipped with new tools, according to Seyfried. Before sharing a slide on how to challenge a voter, Seyfried outlined a series of scenarios under which recruits could contest voters or voting processes and cautioned it is illegal to challenge every vote. No, you just need to make a scene, and you just need to make it just enough so that there's doubt and there's questions. That's it. You have to have a good reason to believe that this individual is not a citizen, that an individual is not of legal voting age, that an individual does not live at the location that they're registered at, or if the person is not registered at all of which would require telepathic knowledge. Yeah, good memes. This also includes training folks to just ask questions, which again, the idea is to sow doubt. Grassroots groups aligned with Trump are helping with the recruitment. Include Stand Up Michigan, whose member adapted the Village People's hit YMCA to MAGA slogan. Yeah. How do we spot these people at the polls? You just gotta have eyes open. They'll be trying to contest votes. You'll see. I think you'll know. I received a vote by mail ballot but voted in person. Right. Receiving an absentee ballot does not mean A, it's illegitimate, and B, that you sent it back. Exactly, Winter Veggie. So, TLDR, this is the strategy, folks. This is the strategy, and it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. Oregon is all mail and drop boxes. Yeah, and has there been like significant issues with that? Probably not. You need a supermajority in both parties to pass legislation. Yes, that is true. Wait, no. You need a supermajority. The party that has a supermajority would be able to pass legislation. There you go. If Seafried is honest with them, he will tell them that they won't see much, added Thomas. There's little to no history of election inspectors challenging people based on qualifications to vote, and if they create chaos, that is just going to get them thrown out. So, yeah. Oh, both houses. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, not really. I think that only counts for the Senate, right? Because the House is just basically whoever controls the majority. Right? It's the Senate where things get murky. Anyways, folks. Again, I can't stress this enough. Eyes open. And please continue to talk about this. Okay? That might be true, but in Republican areas, they may not throw them out. Yeah, but you could say, like, safe to say that that area is going to be Republican anyways. You could say that. The issue is when they're trying to, finagle results in a Democratic area is when things get, dicey. Because, like, why would they mess with Republican areas? They're already there. They already won. Right? Okay. So yeah, that's probably the most important story in terms of politics. This one's just going to be a real quick one. Hurricane Agatha, kills 11, leaves 20 missing in southern Mexico. Storm major in South Florida by week's end. This is the price of climate change, folks. These storms are showing up earlier. These storms are showing up stronger. These storms are showing up with much more rain and storm surge, which puts in danger people's lives. That's just a new norm. Good point, but they're trying to get covert folks in important places. Right. In important places that are more democratic to try to finagle that. This is the price of climate change, folks. Climate change, yes. Vote out DeSantis, also yes. Stop trying to sell me teeth whitener. Trying to do a serious story, god dang it. Climate change could spell the end for Midwestern corn. The Midwestern Corn Belt, which roughly covers part of Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, and Kansas, will be unsuitable for cultivating corn by 2100. I'd like to point out that that is, 80 years from now? That's not very long. If climate change continues on its current trajectory, the future of climate conditions will significantly reshape biophysical suitability across the central and eastern U.S., causing a near collapse of corn cultivation in the Midwest by 2100. Yeah. Using climate and soil data, Emory University environmental studies professor Emily Birchfield modeled where crops would be successfully grown in a warmer future. Birchfield found that under scenarios with higher moderate greenhouse gas emissions, the climate conditions necessary to grow corn, soy, alfalfa, and wheat will shift notably northward, with the Corn Belt becoming unsuitable for to the cultivation of corn by 2100. Yeah. Good stuff. That's going to cause a massive problem as well, economically too. Birchfield's paper suggests that changes to the way crops are grown will be necessary to continue corn farming in the U.S. I suggest possibly reaching out to indigenous folks who have essentially mastered the ability to grow things in very rough conditions. The Hopi have mastered that idea. So yeah, we should probably let them kind of, take the lead on that. Business as usual is not sustainable. Oh, Possum Shaman, thanks for reminding me to vote early. These projections may be pessimistic because they don't account for all the ways that technology may help farmers adapt and rise to the challenge. In fact, Midwestern farmers have already been successfully adapting to climate change due to a variety of technological advances. Farmers today harvest more than 5 times as much corn per acre as farmers did 100 years ago. Yeah, but that's... okay. Some of these changes, according to 2018 study proceeding of National Academy of Sciences, have been helpful to combating rising temperatures. For example, because plants have a cooling effect on their local environment, planting closer together has reduced the effects of global warming on corn crops. Farmers have also adjusted to higher temperatures by planting crops earlier in the season and crossbreeding with more heat-tolerant Mexican varieties of corn. As a result, in part of because of the unusual variation in weather, many Midwestern corn industries haven't necessarily experienced any harmful impacts from climate change yet, although some note that the rainfall patterns have been fairly extreme in recent years. That's a nice way of putting it. Some U.S. farmers stopped planting corn after punishing droughts in 2007 and 2012, and we're experiencing one here. Howdy, Erica. It's okay to feel doomer. I would say to transform that doomerism and reroute that energy to try to do something while there is still time, while there are still things that you can do. It's hard to gauge what actually is the trend. Taylor Moreland, owner of Moreland Seed and Soil in Centralia, Missouri, told Yahoo News in 2012 that was a horrible drought. Midwest side, that was a terrible drought, and there was massive losses across most farms. 2013 was kind of a drought as well, and then 14 was awesome. 15 was extremely wet to the point where a lot of corn couldn't get planted at all because the ground is wet. You can't plant. 16 was another great year. 17, 18, and then really the past 3 years have all been also wet that you typically plant. You typically want to plant corn in April, and most farmers around here haven't been able to because it's been so wet. But Moreland, who also grew up on a farm in Missouri, pointed out that Midwest has always seen wide fluctuations in weather. These weather patterns do tend to change. If you track back before I was doing this, we had droughts, we had wet years, how we had hot years. I remember my grandpa talking about this, and there were a couple of years in a row where they'd have crops burn up and the family would be broke. Yeah, except in this case, it's going to be a new norm where you have the certification because all the soil and droughts have been just horrible. To the extent that farming is given up altogether in some areas that could actually help mitigate climate change, as former farms could, in theory, become valuable sinks for absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, but only if the land is allowed to lie fallow without being redeveloped for half a century or more. Yeah. While the current corn belt could lose its titular crop, places like North Minnesota and parts of Canada could become well suited to growing corn for the first time. This isn't a good thing, folks. The IPCC has found that droughts, extreme temperature extremes, and more prevalent pests will decrease agriculture yields, which should worry people because it turns out, and this is true, we need food. The IPCC calls for swift, massive reductions in greenhouse gas emissions to avert catastrophic climate change and the widespread famine that could result. Exactly. Birchfield said that American farms will be more resilient against climate change if they switch from monoculture, a single commodity crop planted in rows, to farms that integrate more diverse crops. Relying on technology alone is a really risky way to approach the problem. But if we continue to push against all biophysical realities, we will eventually reach an ecological collapse. Yep. And then everybody's effed. To piggyback off that, California cracks down on water use as it sees its most severe desertification ever. Water restrictions began on Wednesday for more than 6 million residents of Southern California as the state enters its third year of severe drought in what officials say it's the state's driest year on record. This is the correct term, as I was taught, is desertification. Residents and businesses must limit their outdoor watering to 1 or 2 days per week or to set a volume of water. People need to take these restrictions seriously, and we must do everything we can to lower our use and stretch this limited supply unless you're farmers. Okay. If residents and businesses don't respond immediately, we'll have to take even stronger action. MWD is a water wholesaler that provides water to member agencies such as the cities of Beverly Hills, Compton, and LA. The member agencies impacted by Wednesday's decision include LA Department of Water and Power, Upper San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, Inland Empire Utilities Agency, Caleguas, Municipal Water District, Las Virgenes Municipal Water District, Three Valleys Municipal Water District. Member agencies have had the option to choose between an outdoor watering limit of 1 day per week or volume of water used. Caleguas, Las Virgenes, and Three Valleys will limit outdoor watering to one day a week, while inland will choose a volume limit. The The Upper San Gabriel and Los Angeles water departments will limit outdoor watering up to 2 days a week and will do so, and as doing so will fall under their volume limits. Exceptions to outdoor watering rules include the hand watering of trees and other perennials. Member agencies who violate these restrictions will be fined $2,000 per acre-foot of water used over the limit. The restrictions, part of the Emergency Water Conservation Program, are supposed to reduce non-essential water use and preserve available supply for the greatest public benefit. The program will end on June 30th, 2023. Jesus. About 27 million Californians get their water from the state's water project, a multi-purpose water storage and delivery system that extends more than 705 miles, 2/3 the length of California, according to the California Department of Water Resources. MWD made an effort to switch its member agencies to getting their water from SWP network to the Colorado River or groundwater. However, the departments impacted by Wednesday's rules still must rely on SWP as a source to meet demand, though many of the state's largest water sources have been depleted by the persistent drought, i.e. desertification. I thought Central Canada was already a big corn growing area. No clue. There we go. There we go. I think that's probably proper. Watersheds have been getting below average precipitation since October 2019, and despite substantial precipitation in October and December of 2021, precipitation in North California from January to March of 2022 fell to driest levels on record. And so it will become the new norm. Folks, we gotta reorganize our priorities. This just cannot continue. This is not sustainable. Canada placed 11th in the world production of corn, 10.7 billion tons of grain of corn produced in 2011. Huh. We'll be out of fresh water, land, and phosphorus soon enough. If it keeps going, yeah. Alright, we've got Braver the Rapture. We've got, we've got the daily recap, and then we'll sign off with a ukulele redemption from KTS Shine.
What makes Finland's new climate law so ambitious? And will the World Cup really be climate neutral? Welcome to the Climate Recap from the Beckosphere Climate Corner, your go-to place for international and US-based climate news. I'm Becky Hogue, a science writer. Today is Thursday, June 2nd. Let's jump right into the news you need to start your day. Let's start with some climate victories. Finland just passed one of the world's most ambitious climate laws: net zero emissions by 2035 and negative emissions by 2040. Negative emissions means they want to be absorbing more carbon than they're releasing by then. Their plan is the second most ambitious in the world after Southern Sudan, according to the Net Zero Tracker. Southern Sudan, though, needs financial aid to get to its target, while Finland, which got rich off of fossil fuel exploration, can do this transition all on its own. Finland's new plan was developed by two economists in the country's climate change board. The economists determined how fast Finland should decarbonize based on its share of the global population, its ability to reduce emissions, and its historical responsibility for climate change. Finland's environment minister says the country will reduce emissions without using international carbon offsets, which is when countries pay for projects elsewhere to artificially reduce their emissions. Over in Germany, police raided the offices of both Deschutes Bank and their asset management subsidiary DWS as part of an investigation into greenwashing. Basically, the prosecution alleges that the bank is making its investment products, like the environmental, social, and governance or ESG portfolios, more environmentally friendly looking than they actually are. If it is doing that, that would be investment fraud. This is the first time I've heard of a bank being raided for greenwashing, and I'll let you know if anything comes from this investigation. In the United States, President Biden announced plans to cut the cost of wind and solar projects being built on public lands. Rents and fees will fall by 50%, according to the Department of the Interior. The administration also said it would increase the number of people processing renewable energy environmental reviews and permits through the creation of 5 new coordinating offices in Washington, Arizona, California, Nevada, and Utah. The offices will help the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, the Department of Agriculture, and the Environmental Protection Agency to all communicate on clean energy deployment better. The goal is to permit 25 gigawatts of renewable energy on federal lands by 2025, as per Biden's mandate. 25 gigawatts would power about 4.75 million homes. For context, last year the U.S. added just 2.89 gigawatts of clean energy to the grid, which was already a 35% increase from the year before. So hitting 25 gigawatts in 2.5 years requires exponential growth. But these things that the administration just announced are the exact moves climate-conscious citizens have been needing to hear for the whole Biden presidency. So this is a big win.
Jeez.
Now, if we can just get the EPA some funding so it can actually do its job efficiently.
We'll
Biden
see what the
has been
Supreme
trying
Court
to
says about
rebuild the
that.
administration, but Congress won't give him the funds for it. The EPA does everything from inspecting chemicals to punishing violators to forming new emissions and pollution rules. It's unsurprising that the money for the EPA can't get much support, as the same congressmen who are blocking the funding represent 19 states that have sued the EPA to the Supreme Court over its ability to regulate state emissions.
Correct.
That case, by the way, is expected to get a decision by the beginning of July, so Stay tuned for that. The Biden administration also announced a new action plan for global water security to elevate the crisis.
Jesus. It makes me sad no conservatives have spoken to about the climate catastrophe to believe in the science behind it, and they're also very doomer since they'll probably be dead in 10 years anyways. Yeah, but like that, yeah, like I was saying earlier to I Like Pie, like that's not, you transform that into a way of like rerouting that energy to do something. And like conservatives are just in this whole it's about me mindset without thinking about like the future generations, their children, their grandchildren are going to have to foot the bill for this, and they're going to be looked back on and say, why didn't they do anything?
To a top foreign policy priority. Over to the private sector, Ford beat out Tesla in the electric pickup market by delivering its F-150 Lightning. It can go from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. It has a range of up to 320 miles until the next charge, and it can be used as a backup generator for the driver's home during blackouts. This truck's 131 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery can hold 10 times as much power as a Tesla Powerwall. Impressive. And now to some state news. Last week, lawmakers in New York introduced a bill that would put fossil fuel companies on the hook to help pay for infrastructure repairs after extreme weather events. Called the Climate Change Superfund Act, it would impose a fee on fossil fuel companies who have contributed a historically large amount to greenhouse gas emissions. The act would generate about $30 billion over 10 years if it's passed. I'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, Hawaii became the first state to mandate that homeowners tell prospective buyers if sea level rise threatens their home. Sea level rise could take away 25,000 acres of statewide land, causing $19 billion in property damage and displace 20,000 residents by as early as 2060. The sea is expected to rise by about 3.2 feet by the end of the century. Yet beachfront properties still selling for about $10 million a pop. So hopefully this new rule will give some homebuyers a pause.
Jesus.
Time for some climate fails. For months, Qatar has claimed that this year's FIFA World Cup will be the first climate-neutral one ever. Well, a new report by Carbon Market Watch has just discredited those claims as nothing more than greenwashing. In other words, Qatar and FIFA ignored major sources of emissions in their calculations. The report's author explains it like this, quote, "Despite a lack of transparency, the evidence suggests that the emissions from this World Cup will be considerably higher than expected by the organizers, and the carbon credits being purchased to offset these emissions are unlikely to have any positive impact on the climate." Calling the event itself carbon neutral is problematic. Even if the accounting had been done properly, it gives a false sense of achievement and says we can continue to host this mega event every 4 years and can continue to do that at no significant cost to the climate. This gives a false idea to the general public and fans attending, so the policymakers need to communicate correctly about the impact of these events, putting the measures in place to reduce emissions, but then still be clear about the fact that these events will come at a cost. We need to be more transparent about it. End quote. The report shows the organizers underestimated the emissions associated with building new stadiums and venues and heavily relied on carbon offset schemes. FIFA denies that it misled its stakeholders. In Europe, the European Court of Auditors reported that the European Union spent 72 billion euros less on climate action than it claimed in its 2014 to 2020 budget period. It claimed it spent 216 billion euros on climate action during that time, but the court said that not all of that spending was actually relevant to climate action. Agriculture-related spending seemed to be the biggest culprit of this, accounting for 60 billion euros of that wasted amount. The auditors worried this misuse and overreporting will continue into this budget period and might even get worse. Right now, there's an unclear link between payments and climate objectives, which makes it hard for the EU to make sure the money is getting put to its intended use. And in the United Kingdom, the Meteorology or Met Office is facing its worst personnel cut since World War II, despite an increasing need to forecast extreme weather events and predict climate change. A 20% staffing cut has been applied across UK civil services. That could drop the 2,000-person office down to just 1,600. The Met Office will likely argue with this rule, saying its job is just too important to drop that much. It is like the main office that tells the UK government about climate predictions. I'll let you know if anything comes from this. I want to finish off today's episode remembering a groundbreaking environmentalist, Hazel Henderson, who passed away last Sunday at the age of 89 from complications of skin cancer. Henderson came to the US from England right out of high school and became concerned about the air quality in Manhattan, which was so bad she had to wash soot off of her baby daughter every day. She joined a fellow concerned Manhattan mom, Carolyn Conham, to form the powerful Citizens of Clean Air group. Among many things, the group added an air pollution index to the daily weather reports. Described as, quote, a visionary ecological economist by the environmental author Bill McKibben, Henderson popularized the phrase think globally, act locally, and set out to redefine GDP in terms of human prosperity, going beyond material success. She called herself an, quote, independent, self-employed futurist. Henderson wrote 9 books, including The Politics of the Solar Age in 1981, and Ethical Markets, Growing the Green Economy in 2007, which was later the basis of a PBS series. Ethical Markets also became the name of Henderson's own media company, which was meant to promote capitalism's evolution, quote, beyond maximizing profits for shareholders and management to benefiting all stakeholders. Henderson is survived by her daughter and grandson. And that was your climate news for Thursday, June 2nd.
Based.
If you like the work I do, please follow this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, leave a review, and consider checking out the Beckosphere Climate Corner YouTube channel. Remember to talk about the climate crisis every single day and to support your local news organizations. Think global, act local, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Based. Alright, folks. Get that sub count up, alright? Oops, sorry. Get that sub count up. While you're there, hit up our YouTube channel. Yeah. She does fantastic work. Please consider supporting. Alright, folks. We are heading, we're gonna do the last ukulele redemption for KTS Shine. Let's see if we can get something going, right? Okay, kind of. Alright, we're trying to cheat. Floppy Boober subscribing with the tier 1, thank you. I'm gonna be honest, folks. I've got some chords up on my screen, so excuse me if I try to learn on the fly here. No, let's try that again. I don't like it, chat. Let's see. See if we can make something better. Okay, something closer. How about C, D, G, A? Okay. Closer. Okay, close enough, alright? That's the best I can do on the fly. I tried cheating through the video to see if I could get some chords going. But yeah, close enough. Appreciate it, Floppy Boober, Winter Veggie, thank you. Don't worry, I'll get better. The whole point of me putting the redemptions is to force me to... Alio with the 15 biddies, thank you. Thank you so much, Alio, I appreciate that. Is to force me to play. To force me to play the ukulele or mandolin. Alright, folks. Unfortunately, we gotta get going. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Spread It Forward. I appreciate that. Thank you all. Thank you to the subs. Thank you to the new follows. Thank you to Benjamin P. Dixon Show. Thank you to Jam Tomb. The Benjamin P. Dixon Show for the raid. Thank you so much, Jam Tomb. I appreciate it. Go check them out. See you in Catterday. Appreciate that. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. All right. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for hanging out. All right, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.